Most investors actually obsess over when to buy, what to buy, but almost no one talks about when to actually sell. Holding forever is not always the smartest move. Sometimes selling is a decision that unlocks the next level of growth, fixes your cash flow, or protects you from holding the wrong assets too long. In this video, I'm going to walk you through key scenarios that tell you when it might actually be time to sell an investment asset, and more importantly, how to think about that decision strategically rather than emotionally. And I want to clarify in this video, I am not talking about when a suburb has capped its growth, but rather when it's actually time to sell for you personally. And so the whole suburb growth question I'm going to cover in a different video itself. But let's go into the first scenario. Now, the first one is the consolidation of debt. Now, this is one of the clearest reasons as to why you would sell an investment property, particularly when your total leverage improves serviceability, lowers your interest rate exposure, and strengthens your overall portfolio position. Sometimes you'll have different assets in your portfolio and some are riskier than others, and you have to look to sell them. By exiting a weaker or mature asset, you can generally free up capital to pay down multiple loans, reduce risk across the board, and create more flexibility for your future investing or lifestyle decisions. And this is important because over time, you'll aggressively acquire more and more properties. And say you have 5 properties here, for example, over a long period of time, you might need to sell down some assets to pay off the other assets and also to de-risk your portfolio. And oftentimes, when you sell an asset, you'll improve your serviceability, you'll improve your borrowing capacity, which means you could also purchase in other markets. And I'll get into that stuff a bit later. And when you have a lot of debt, you are in a much more riskier position. I know property debt, everyone always claims as good debt, which is true. It is good debt compared to a car loan. However, it is still debt. And when you have a lot of debt hanging over your heads, that can always put a mental and emotional burden on you and your family. And so when it is time, sometimes it is good to consolidate some of that debt by selling down some assets. Now, oftentimes you might go out and purchase an asset like this during your acquisition phase, which is like a 1950s, 1960s weatherboard house on stumps. Now, at the time, that would be a great purchase. You'll get some equity over time, and then in 10, 20 years' time, that home might need renovations, might need restumping, etc. And so it's more of a riskier asset to hold in comparison to sort of a brick house like this 1980s on a concrete slab. So if you had these two assets in your portfolio, you may look to consolidate some of that debt, sell down this asset, and use the profits from this asset to pay off your other home. And that is a simple example of where consolidation of debt is an important strategy towards your overall portfolio. Now, before I go on to my next point, if you guys haven't already, jump into the private community. We have close to 300 members helping each other out on a daily basis. There's over 69 reviews for you guys to go have a read. There's personalized one-to-one mentorship. We can ask questions like, should I sell this? Should I buy this property? You should be looking at what deals to look. Is it a good deal? Is there any red flags? Is it in a flood zone? I can help assess that. You can have access to the suburb watch list, over 30 plus engaging videos. And if you don't like it at all, there's a 30-day money back guarantee. So you have absolutely nothing to lose except screwing up your life in 2026 by not joining the private community, guys. So jump in. You will not regret it. There is so much resources available to you and so many investors here to help you guys out. So don't blink. Look at the link in the comments below, jump in the community, and let's rock 2026 together. Now, the next point I want to make is actually selling down your asset to pay off your PPOR. Now, often what's happening in today's environment is that normal people or people who aren't investors go out at the age of 25 to 30 and go and buy a principal place of residence. And then they look to pay that off over 30 years, then start their investment journey. In today's day and age, you have to follow a different strategy. You have to go out and buy investment properties, acquire multiple investment properties, grow your equity, and then when you're 50 or 40, you can look down to sell some of those investment properties to pay off a principal place of residence or purchase a PPOR. And this is an excellent strategy to use. You use your equity from one property to reduce or clear debt on your PPOR. You can use it to purchase your dream home, and you can choose to shift from all the growth to more of an income supported PPOR residence. And by purchasing multiple investment properties and then letting that grow in time over 10 to 20 years and then selling those assets to pay off your PPOR, you reduce your reliance on your personal income to hold your principal place of residence. And this is so important. When loans these days are in the millions of dollars of $1.5 to $2 million loans, relying on your income is a poor decision because it is what I like to call golden handcuffs. And when you have golden handcuffs, you will be in a job that you may like today, but in 20 years time, you may not like anymore. And that's a real distinction you need to make, and why investment is a good choice for you, and then buying multiple investments and then selling it down is beneficial. Now, the next point I want to make is actually a very common scenario that I talk with investors on a daily basis. People who aren't educated about property often go out and purchase poor quality assets, and not in terms of the type of property, but in terms of yield and cash flow. If you go buy properties on 2 to 3% yields at $600,000 to $700,000, you will be in heavy negative cash flow, and that makes it very difficult to sustain, and it could be blocking you in your overall portfolio journey. People who purchase in flood zones have high insurance. People who purchase in Far North Queensland might have higher council rates, which always compress your overall returns. Now, not all assets are created equal, and sometimes you may need to sell a poor performing asset that's either poor in terms of cash flow or poor in terms of growth to actually go ahead and then scale your property portfolio. Low yield assets will restrict your future borrowing capacity, and there is no two ways about it, or it will take a multiple number of years before the yield becomes better to then go ahead and purchase more properties. Let's take a simple example here. Now, this is just a simple property that I've put for $750,000, which is sort of what you need to buy in Melbourne CBD or roundabouts. When you account for all cost, I've put $400 rent, you get about a 2.7% yields, right? That puts you around negative $25,000 in cash flow per year before tax returns. And then if you look at your net profit after tax, assuming at a 37% tax rate, you're looking around negative $16,000. How many properties can you acquire that you can manage at negative $16,000 per year? Maybe one, maybe two, maximum three. And then you'll be completely capped out. And that's if you can personally manage it. The banks might assess it a lot worse. They usually assess it at higher serviceability rates. So it's really important to understand that buying properties at 2.7, a 3% yield is not a sustainable way to build a portfolio. You really want to be buying around that 4.5% yield where it's not as great, but it's still a lot better, where it's only around negative 8K per year after tax. A little bit better in that sense as well. So if you are buying properties on low yields and poor cash flow, that could be a reason why you would look to sell an asset to then go ahead and purchase a different type of property. Now, the second last point I want to make is opportunity cost, and this sort of ties in with the other one. Sometimes you will be in a market where you have picked it incorrectly, and that's okay. People make mistakes. I have bought in markets way too early, and it's okay, right? But this is where it becomes important. It becomes an opportunity cost. You could have about 10K growth compared to another location which has performed extremely well over the past 12 months, where you could have got $50,000 to $60,000. All right. So another reason you may look to sell is that you would be selling an underperforming asset to purchase in a better market. But this is the caveat. You really, really, really need to run your numbers carefully, because if you buy poorly and then you go ahead and you buy in another market poorly, you will shoot yourself in the foot twice. It's like a double barrel shotgun and you're shooting yourself in the head. So you have to be very, very careful, because property transaction costs are very high. When you sell an asset, you have CGT, you have marketing costs, you have agency fees and more, and even staging costs. When you buy a property, you have bank fees, you have lawyer fees, you have agency fees, you have buyer's agent fees if you're using a buyer's agent. So you have to really be careful. And stamp duty. I can't believe I forgot the biggest one. So you have to be very careful about this. If you sell, you need to buy even more carefully. So really think about it. But opportunity cost is another reason why you may look to sell an asset down. Now, the last one I want to touch on, it comes back sort of to the first point of consolidation of debt, but it's portfolio risk and complexity. Over time, you'll build a portfolio. And one of the risks of owning a large portfolio is that you'll have assets in questionable areas. For example, if you own properties in Far North Queensland, like in Townsville, like in Rockhampton, in Cairns, you will know that flash flooding happens often. And even though you might have a property that doesn't sit on the flood zone map, for example, it is a known portfolio risk of owning a property in these locations, and that is risky. So oftentimes when you're looking to retire or you're looking to consolidate your debt and de-risk your portfolio, you can look at assets like this one in a flood zone or flood zone affected area to sell down and consolidate that debt. Yes, and before someone smart says you have insurance, yes, I know you have insurance, okay? I'm not dumb. But the point for me is, I would rather sell down that asset when the time comes than rather risk holding an asset and selling a different one, because I don't want to go through the hassle of dealing with insurance, getting a claim, waiting for the money to be paid out, etc., maybe having the house rebuilt. It's not worth it in my opinion. So when you're at the stage, at the point in time in your life when you're looking to retire or you're looking to consolidate debt, sometimes markets that have already overperformed and have started to stagnate and are in risky areas like flood zones, bushfires, or closer to public housing, you could look to put those on the market and get rid of them and then then use that debt to pay off other properties, right? And that is an example of where you would look to reduce your portfolio risk. Another example, Victoria is known to be a very strong state against landlords, heavy investor policies, land tax policy changes, etc. that affect the tenants. If you have multiple properties in Victoria, you may look to sell down some assets there to reduce your portfolio risk because macroeconomics does affect your properties. So that's important to consider. If you have high rising insurance, maintenance costs, that might be another reason where you would look to sell down an asset. But there are a multitude of reasons where you would look to sell down an asset to reduce your overall portfolio risk so that you can sleep better at night. And so I hope this video has really helped you. That is simply 5 reasons you may look to sell down an asset in today's environment. And if you have any questions, jump into the private community. That is what we are here for. We are here to help you achieve your goals in 2026. There is so much value jam-packed in, guys. You'll make a mistake by not joining. Till next time, thank you very much.